What's up, guys? Back here again with Shadowrun for the Sega Genesis. Last time I got cut a little bit short. I was kind of rushing towards the end there. Got a cat jumping around on a tree back here. I had to cut a little bit short because I was running out of time, but I was going through all the contacts. I did, pretty sure I got all the contacts except for the mob boss. And then I was in the middle of kind of gearing up with my final gear. So, actually, I forgot to bring up my notes here. All right, got my notes pulled up. So on my to-do list is to buy all the cyberware that I need, all the weapons that I need, all the magic that I need, get my final cyber deck. Probably should have time to do a tour of the Penumbra district and then go around and talk to any Shadowrunners that I've not shown you yet. So let's get going with that. Now, let's see here. I've got plenty of money, I think. Although I wonder... Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do the cyberware first, just to make sure if I run out of money before I get my cyber deck, I'll just go ahead and show you some more of those matrix runs. So I now have a discount at Little Chiba thanks to my Yakuza connections. And then in terms of cyberware, I don't want a data jack. You only need that if you are a decker. I do want cyber eyes. It's supposed to increase combat effectiveness. I don't really know how, but if it does, that's cool. And that's supposed to counter invisibility, and I'm curious because normally Bandersnatches are invisible. I think they look like orcs when they are visible, in this game at least. So let's go ahead and do the cyber eyes. To upgrade from hand razors to spurs is only 0.1 essence, so we're going to go ahead and do that. And we're going to try out melee since I have the melee bug fix. We're going to do a smart link. And then the most important thing is wired reflexes level 1, and then with level 2 the cost is half. So we're going to get level 2. If we were to get level 3, that would knock us down to no essence left. So instead, I'm kind of curious. I want to do muscle replacement. And before you do cyberware, you might want to save the game because you can't really take it back after you do it. And you can kind of end up with some suboptimal configurations. You can still beat the game, but wired reflexes level 2 is what I recommend. And you'll see once I get going, Joshua will be, especially I'll be using the Ares Predator heavy pistol. You'll just see just firing bullet after bullet. Anyway, muscle replacement. Okay, so I was curious about that. Took 1 essence. Strength and quickness went up. So I can only afford 1 of those. Or I could get 2, but then I wouldn't get any dermal plating. Dermal plating increases your effective body. I guess I should explain here. So muscle replacement, your strength and your quickness go up by 1. Strength will increase the amount of damage I do in melee. Quickness increases how fast I run and increases my combat pool. Dermal plate increases body, which increases the number of dice I roll to defend myself. Currently I roll 6 dice plus whatever my stance is, up to doubling it. So if I took 1 of these, I'd get to roll 7 dice. If I took 2, I'd get to roll 8 dice to defend myself. I have the heavy combat armor, so I'm almost invincible anyway. And so I think I'm going to lean a little bit more towards the muscle replacement. Let's just see. Okay, and then that will be... That's it. I am down to 0.1 essence, meaning I cannot take another upgrade. Now, if I come out here, you'll see that my quickness and my strength, it says 6, but then it says C8. That's with, so C is for cyberware. With my cyberware, I have quickness 8 and strength 8. And that may have, not sure if it does, but it may have increased my combat pool, because every 2 points of quickness increases your combat pool by 1. And you would see that in the... Yeah, it's interesting. Medium offense is the most I get benefit from. So I wouldn't want to go more than that. I think I'm going to do it. Don't know if it's the right choice, but I don't think I'm going to be taking hits with my heavy armor. Leave him alone or you'll be sorry. Okay, we helped the guy give us $100. Cool. Alright, so I do want to accessorize my Ares. And the big thing is I want a smart gun and a silencer. Sound suppressors are for submachine guns. Laser sight is incompatible with a smart gun and it's not as good. And then gas vents are only for SMGs, so that's it for us. Oops. And then we're going to do the same thing with Rihanna's heavy pistol, smart gun, silencer, and that should do it. And then we are actually going to, I think most people wouldn't bother with this next step, but I'm going to just in case. I'm kind of a completionist. We're going to go ahead and buy the Allegiance shotgun. If we ever run up against an enemy whose armor rating is just too tough for us, the shotgun will blow holes in them. The shotgun cannot take accessories though. I also don't know that I want Rihanna to have the shotgun, so it'll be a Joshua only thing, but the shotgun only gets 5 bullets in its clip. But it is the strongest weapon in the game. It'll be one-shotting most enemies, at the very least 2-shotting them. And then with the wired reflexes, I can actually fire it pretty quickly, I think. Okay, so we'll try that out. Mariana, we're going to put her on medium offense as well. Okay. Let's go pick up the spells that we don't have. So I did get discounts through my contacts, which I think they barely pay for themselves really. Yeah, it's a 10% discount. And I spent somewhere around 2,000 yen for it, so it barely is going to pay for itself. Flame Bolt, we're going to go all the way to level 6 with her spells. Yeah, and this is where we might come up a little bit short for the cyber deck. So we want Flame Bolt level 6. We're going to want Heal Wounds level 6. And then actually 2 other magic shops we need to take a look at. Rinraku. So this magic shop has what we want, Mana Blast. Okay, and this one is a 25% discount, so that's kind of nice. So I probably should have got the Heal Wounds here. Alright, I've never used Rock Skin or anything. I think other people have. I might buy that later. The only time you might even actually need it would be against the end boss, I think. He's pretty tough. And I'm not sure if it works against his attacks, so we'll see. But we're gonna head out to Council Island. And I think just invisibility is what we need out here. So heal wounds, mana blast, firebolt, invisibility. Those are the 4 spells that are the power spells. Any AoE spells, this is true in the tabletop RPG, any AoE spells are going to leave you with a lot of drain, and so you'd have to start picking up fetishes. And I don't see the need for it because my runners can drop enemies pretty quickly. Alright, so there's all our money. We are going to have to do some runs to get enough money for the cyber deck, but that's fine. Let's take a look at Walking Bear's magic. We don't want to be using Mana Zap ever anymore. We're going to try Flame Bolt, which will work on pretty well everything except for Hellhounds. Okay, so she does 4/6 and stays neutral. She can still pull that off. And then if you compare that to, say, Mana Bolt, so Mana Zap, look at the damage, it's awful. Here's Mana Blast, excuse me. So the damage is way different. Oh, she could do medium offense. So but it's only 3 damage. You compare that, this is 6 damage. And then if she goes neutral, she gets no drain. Yeah, you'll see her just... Actually, I'm going to control her. You'll see her just one-shotting. Now, runners who are neutral might not actually, like, be very aggressive in combat. Okay. Also, I just saw the targeting reticule come into place. I think we're going to get attacked by that mage again, so let's see. Yep. Yeah. So once... Huh? Oh, there's another one. Yeah, so we're dropping them pretty quickly. And Joshua took a hit. So medium offense. I almost want to just leave her on medium offense, just keep her on Mana Bolt. Alright, and then Walking Bear gets a bonus to heal wounds because she's a bear shaman. Yeah, I'm going to put her on Mana Blast. Less damage, but it will kill Hellhounds, and then I can leave her on medium offense. Neutral runners will sometimes not really attack, but at least medium offense they usually will. Alright, and then I said I'd give you a tour of the Penumbra District, so let's go do that real quick. Yeah, and then after that, we'll just go around and talk to any runners we missed, which actually I think Penumbra will cover it. So the taxi drops you off in the top left corner of the map. Here's Fuchi Building. You approach the corporate office entrance of Fuchi Industrial Electronics. A camera with an ID pad looks down at you. It appears Fuchi screens its visitors before they enter the office. A stern voice demands you state your business. Lacking any real reason to enter, the guard switches off the intercom and you return to the street. So yeah, we'll be back there later. There's actually something to do there. Alright, the M is for Mitsuhama. This is the downtown branch of Mitsuhama Computer Technologies. There's a young guard behind the front desk. What can you tell me about Mitsuhama? The guard leans forward and begins talking very excitedly. Mitsuhama is one of the largest mega corporations in the world. Why, just last week I overheard 2 executives say that they were responsible for over 100 million lives. I assume that they're referring to the transit systems we make, as well as all of the computer parts and subsystems we manufacture. You may not know this, but we are close to completing a top-secret project that may change the way we view the entire science of cyber technology. Mitsuhama is a great place to work. The guard waves goodbye. I was always puzzled. There's 2 Fuchis and there's 2 Mitsuhamas. And I get confused sometimes. Like they say, oh, go to Fuchi. Sometimes I don't know which one they're talking about and they have to pay attention. Ahead of you is a man lying in the street. He seems to be hurt badly. Give him first aid. He gives me 150 yen. We've had that one. At least he wasn't a vampire. Okay, abandoned building. Again, one of these days we're going to need to figure out which one of these is the demon building, but I haven't figured that out yet. It might help us with one of our later missions. This is Lone Star. We've done this on a corp run before. Lone Star, dedicated to keeping the peace in these violent times, for a price. What they mean by that is that even the police force, Lone Star, is they're a corporation, and so the city contracts them to do police work for the city. Lone Star officers mill about while security camera scans everyone who enters. This is the last place any Shadowrunner wants to be. The desk sergeant looks up from his terminal. Got a problem, citizen? Without anything prepared, you confess you do not. You then decide to leave before you draw any more unwanted suspicion. Also being the headquarters of Lone Star in this game, that this district here, so another warehouse, this district here is, I think you're more likely to be stopped by the police in this district. Alright, another abandoned building. Alright, this is the big rhino, which I showed you briefly, I believe, when we talked to this guy, mid-level Johnson. I did skip this guy though. I love this guy's name is Winston. If you need a street samurai, he is my favorite. The main reason is I think he comes with no cyberware, and he's a troll. Trolls are crazy. They can get like body like 10 or 11 and strength pretty the same. Quickness and intelligence are pretty low though. But he comes with no cyberware, so you can make him out however you want him to be. So very customizable. And then I think he comes with a shotgun, but whatever. I would just build up firearms and just use pistols and shotguns. An armed troll studies you with his largest pupil. You want something? I'm looking for some information. I guess I might be able to help. What's your story, Chummer? The name's Mars. Did you know he was the god of war? I see things different than most. The fastest way to solve a problem is to shove a gun in it and shoot. Problem is, I can't do this all the time. I run out of bullets too fast. So I started to think, how can I get paid to shoot at people? Then it hit me. Join Lone Star. They can shoot anyone they like and get free reloads. So I studied real hard, but you know what? I was thrown out. So now I'm here looking for work. So yeah, his story's kind of funny. Need some questions answered. Tell me about the Halloweeners. The Halloweeners own Redmond. They're the sort of low-end trash I used to hang with before I got more educated. They beat on unsuspecting targets, but flee when things get too hairy. Still, they're a lot tougher than the I-5ers. What do you know about Lone Star? Lone Stars, I hate them. They think they're so whiz, walking the streets in their regulation body armor and shooting anyone they want. I hate them. Don't bring up that subject again. How is it that you are a troll? He looks like he's going to lose his temper but stays calm. I didn't ask to be like this, you know. I was normal like you when I was younger. But now I'm 7 feet 4 inches of troll. Do you know how hard it is to buy clothes that fit? Urgh. It's enough to make me want to shoot someone. His grip tightens on his pistol. Alright, that's about it for him. But like I said, he is, if you need a street samurai, he is my favorite. In fact, he's the only street samurai that's available at the beginning of the game, if I remember right. I'll have to go through kind of again and just take a look at each of the street samurais. Alright, we got a hotel here. This is Wiley's Gala Inn. Rather stark hotel in the center of the Penumbra district. While quite safe to stay in, it's rumored that the inn is owned and operated by the Mafia. Hello, young fellow. Need a room for the night? If you ally with the mob, you get to stay there for free. It's not that big of a benefit. There's a sudden disturbance up ahead. This is probably our Ranraku strike team, so let's see how we do with our upgrades. Yep. So let's watch the bullets fly. Where are they at? Yeah, see, you can see they have some pretty heavy armor. So yeah, next time that happens, I might go ahead and use my shotgun. In fact, since we're not in a stealth mission... Oh, looks like I looted an SMG off of one of them. And then I didn't do very well, so what is it? Oh, okay, I still only had firearm 6. Once you get even higher firearms, it should be pretty easy to kill those guys. Let's see, we haven't been in this building yet, but I'm sure it's... Oh, okay, this is the I-5er place. This old warehouse has the I-5er logo spray painted on it. Next to the door is a young punk in a leather jacket. You better cut out of here, Jack, before I cut something out of you. We're gonna go ahead and walk away, but you can't buy their contact anymore because I allied with the Yakuza. You can buy protection from them because these guys will, they're just like the Renraku strike teams. They'll just randomly attack me as I'm walking around town. If they give you a lot of trouble, you can pay them protection money and they'll leave you alone. All right, and then over here, this is Club Penumbra. Club Penumbra is the most decadent of all the nightclubs in Seattle. Some people claim they've been on the waiting list for more than a year. The doorman smiles at you and asks your business. I'd like to go in. If I could have your credit stick, I'll transfer the 75 yen entry fee. So even with reputation 6, I have to pay to get in. Enjoy yourself, sir. Now, Penumbra, for the most part, nobody in the booth. But over here is the best starting mage in the game. So an elf is in the corner dressed in a bright blue gown. She addresses you as you near. What do you need? I'm looking for some information. Sure, Chummer, we all want answers. What's your story, Chummer? I hear you're the new golden child, #1 with a bullet and all that jazz, so I guess I can trust you. I'm Freya. When I was young, I discovered I had latent magical skills. My tribe, the Cascade Crow, viewed hermetic mages as blasphemous, so I ran away and fell in with a radical political group. They trained me to become an assassin using magic as my weapon with corporate officials as my targets. I did my job, no sweat. But I grew tired of their control over me and escaped into the shadows. Been running them ever since. I need some questions answered. What's on your mind, Chummer? What do you know about a Johnson named Vigor? He's too slick for his own good. The contracts are good, and there's no doubt that the new yen is good, but there's more going on with him than meets the eye. Be careful of that one. Do you know of any Johnsons in the area? Well, there's Julius Strather, who I like to do runs for. He's got a booth reserved over at Matchsticks in downtown Seattle. He's as close to an honest dwarf as you'll find in the sprawl. Fair with your contracts and your pay. Alright. So yeah, I said she was the best starting mage. What I mean by that is she's expensive. She has really good starting stats, good skills, good magic. If you need a mage, she's actually the best one to get if you can afford her. The main reason they didn't get her and I got Walking Bear instead is that it bothers me that she is a sprite twin with Rihanna. Freya's yellow and Rihanna's red. And I just hate the idea, like, I wish there were more unique sprites in this game because I just hate the idea of two identical people following me around. And I think it's kind of neat that Walking Bear is an orc shaman, so... But otherwise, Freya is the better mage of the two of them. But then again, once you pour a bunch of karma into them, they're all about the same. So yeah, that's it. That's Penumbra. Trying to think. I don't think we've missed any other Shadowrunners at this point. But we can talk a little bit about, which ones I think are the best. And it really comes down to they're all fine. Any of them you can use and build them up and they'll be fine in the end game. So I remember there's Ricky back here in the Redmond Barrens. And I think he's the cheapest. And he's actually, if you hire him on early and keep him on, you can build him up. The one thing that, if this is true, and I think it is, he has a penalty to his combat magic, and that kind of limits him in the long game. But otherwise, he's fine. He's really good. And he comes with invisibility, so if you want to run corporation runs early, and you can't afford invisibility, he's good. Especially like, say you start off as a decker, hire Ricky, and then get your electronics up to 6, and then he's got invisibility, and that's all you need. Just make sure he's got the stats to go with it, so make sure his sorcery gets up higher and his willpower gets up higher. Oops. Yep. I got one shot off before my team killed him. Which I think we had an elf decker over in Renraku. And I think I mentioned it before, but he is... he has the same potential as Rihanna because what metahuman race you are determines your potential. Oh, some bars when you go in, there's a fight, so... Yeah, I dropped that guy in one hit. So that's the power of this shotgun. Another fight. Actually, the hardest thing sometimes is you see the targeting reticle kind of wigs out a little bit sometimes. 25 new yen to get in. So that there was this guy here. I forget his name already. Oh, Phantom. Okay, yeah. So he has the same potential as Rihanna, being an elf. He just starts with worse stats, that's all. And I just happen to not like those sprites because they look kind of weird. Like these guys kind of like floating. Downtown we had... Well, Rihanna was in the matchstick. We hired her. And then here in the Space Needle we had the human mage, Trent. I don't think I've ever used him. I mean, it's Shadowrun. My main character is already human. I kind of want to add some different metahumans to the mix. And then I think he would technically be a little bit better than Ricky on paper, but the fact that Ricky starts with invisibility makes Ricky more useful in my opinion. And then dwarves, I think, have a bonus to body and willpower. I'm not 100% sure about that. Body's good for defense and willpower is good for resisting the drain of magic. And then I think that's about it, actually. Oh, and there was a dwarf decker. I think he's back in the Vigor and Jarl bar. Let's go take a look at him real quick. Another bar fight. Oh, I don't think I one-shotted the orc there. So, dwarf decker. In some ways, you just want to choose... You can choose your characters based on their looks, really, because remember, you can max them out. Like I said, dwarfs have a little bit more body, maybe willpower, definitely strength, a little bit lower quickness, so... And the elves have better potential matrix because they have a bonus to intelligence, right? No, just quickness. So, I don't think it really matters that much. And then there are two more runners that are not available at the beginning of the game. They're unlocked through the story. Stark is a street samurai that we'll get later. And, he has pretty good starting stats, and he's actually free every time you want to hire him. So if you get to that point and you don't have a lot of money, you don't have a street sam, just take him. And one quirk about him is that he's already got like no essence left, so he's already had all of his decisions made for him. And then there's also Irene Two Fists, I think, and she doesn't stand out to me in any way. By the time you get her, you probably already got your final team in place. I just noticed I got a bunch of stuff to sell from all these people I've been killing, so I'm gonna sell that, and then we're gonna do some matrix runs so we can get that cyber deck upgrade we wanted. So I'll get rid of the SMG, keep one first aid kit with 6 uses. I think that's it. Oh, Bear doesn't need a first aid kit though. The only reason she would need it is if everybody else got knocked out with stun damage, because she can't heal stun damage. Alright. So we'll go back to farming the matrix real quick here. Pretty sure I haven't bought anything yet. Oh, what's this? Okay. And we're still running Fuchi. Yep, so I don't think we've had any upgrades since last time I showed you this, but we'll just run this a couple times and then hopefully we'll have enough for the Fairlight Excalibur. I forgot to check to see how much money I need for it. There is a contact who sells it for 180 something thousand. The crime wall also has it, and your negotiation can lower that, so the contact is cheaper if you don't have negotiation high. If you have negotiation, I think the crime wall is a better place to do it. Alright, so once again, once we hit this red data store, we're going to spam degrade edit. I am looking forward to getting degrade level 6 when we get the Fairlight, because this will happen much more quickly. But yeah, now every dice, basically every dice I roll, there's a 5 and 6 chance I'll get a success, and so yeah. The Fairlight Excalibur will also upgrade my storage. I can't actually hold the maximum amount of data files yet. I'm pretty sure I can upgrade my current deck storage, but it gets upgraded automatically when I go to the Fairlight. And by the way, in case I didn't make it clear, you don't need the Fairlight Excalibur to beat the game. I could beat the game with this deck. It'll be a little bit easier if I upgraded at least one more time, but you don't have to. It's not... There's one hard matrix system in the game. Alright. What are we at? 150,000. Yeah, so like I said, I did the math. I don't have my notes nearby. I did the math, and I'm pretty sure I said it in the last video, but I think it was something around 4,000 new yen per minute. My memory's not so good. So this pays off pretty quick, and then if you are really lucky, you can get more. People swear by other systems that are better. So yeah, you can look online and see if there's one that's any better. But the main thing is that you want a path to a red data store that doesn't have any tar pits along the way, because tar pits can cause a lot of added stress and lost time. You see, until that first degrade hits. There we go. Once we hit at least once, things get easier and easier. You see the success bars go up and up. That was not necessary, we're already at 2. And yeah, when I was younger, I thought degrade messed up the value of the data files, but it doesn't. Because it's based off the color of the node, not the number. So knock that node down to rating 2 and you can just have your way with it. Alright, don't have any storage for 60. There we go. I could fit a 40 though. Alright. Alright, just a vampire. The random encounters are pretty fun early on in the game. They get a little bit annoying towards the end, because you've seen them all. And there's some, like the, there's some that just feel kind of trolly. Like, there's one where there's a grungy guy following a woman. If you stop him, sometimes he's a Lone Star officer, sometimes he's a actual bad guy. But if you say walk away, automatically it implies that you did the wrong thing, which is really annoying. Okay, gotta go deal with the cat here. BRB. Actually got a failure here. What do I want to do? So yeah, I've been working on ways to keep the cats distracted so they don't bother me, so... That one day was awful. It was at least 8 interruptions. I lost count. Even editing, I had a nightmare. Just a nightmare time of it. I left some of them in to be kind of funny, but... I think one thing about grinding, you just want to be careful you find a way that works for you and like you're still having fun. You know, it's a game. I happen to like grinding. Some people find it relaxing to just grind, like your character is getting better and better. But I probably overdid it with the Gunnarsson runs early in the game. I think it was my 3rd video. I showed up with like 100 something karma. And by my calculations, that was about 2 hours of grinding in real world time. So it's a bit much, but I did not do it in 2 hours. I'd get home from work and do it for like 15 minutes and then go make dinner or whatever. Maybe play it again later before bed or something for a week. So, you know, just make sure. I guess this is true in any RPGs. Just make sure that your grinding is not making you it's not making you burn out on the actual game. But no, I like to grind. I like to be way too powerful for where I'm supposed to be. I have literally not done any of the story quests except for talking to the doctor at Seattle General. And I have the endgame equipment except for the saber deck. And that's just the way I like to play. I think you could beat the game with your skills at 6. Having them at 12 is not really necessary. Okay, come on. I am looking forward to D grade 6 instead of 3. Alright, that's probably good enough. Let's just get her done. One of the other reasons to degrade the data store is there's a check every time you try to do an action in the node. I don't remember what exactly is the check. It has to do with your computer, at least your computer skill. But just to operate the node at all. And so sometimes in Red 6 nodes, you'll get a little message. It'll say, you failed to successfully operate the node. Again, hitting it with degrade, that never happens. Because if you're rolling all your computer skill dice and everyone that rolls a 2 or higher is counted, then you're never going to fail to operate the node. Another thing about farming the matrix and specifically is it's fun. Like, it's a really fun representation of what you're doing. If you play the Super Nintendo game, most people have played both. Are just like, oh, the Matrix is so bad in the Super Nintendo one. You would literally just a guy walking around squares, and there's no real strategy to it. I actually like this. The graphics are fun, and then the decisions that you have to make are kind of fun. It's made a little bit, it's a little trivialized by the fact that you can just kind of save scum. So if you have something bad happen to you in the Matrix, you just load up your last game. But it's still pretty fun anyway. Thinking of which, I think I'm actually going to complete my run. I'm going to complete my Fuji run, just so I can open up some other options. Okay, that was pretty good money. So let's go ahead, okay, 205,000 units, plenty. Let's go ahead and finish the run while we're at it. So you can see how it would work with a deck like mine. I do need to... Okay, so I'm looking for the SimSense data store. And like I said, you need to save the game before you go in. You can also, there's maps of the Matrix systems online if you want to get kind of cheap and do it that way. You can actually map them out yourself. Like every time you run Fuji, it's the same map. Alright. Wait, what node am I in? Data routing. I actually don't know. We'll go check out this data store, but I don't think this is it. Okay, so that's pretty... That's a medium moving ice. But I doubt it's out here. Yeah, green, outdated files, nothing there. It's probably a lot more protected since this is a red hot Matrix run. Most likely, it's going to be on the other side of the CPU. This is a pretty fast moving one. I'm going to go ahead and sleaze it. Yeah, okay. Now there is a quirk with the way they set these up. The slave modules should not be connected to anything other than the SPU that they're under. Yeah, I figured. Alright. Well, I had a failure and a tar pit did not activate, so there's no tar pit. Tar pits activate on a failure. And I don't know if I've explained that. Tar pits activate on a failure, and they will absolutely destroy whatever program you had running. Alright, that was a failure. So no tar pit on this one, at least. Huh, I hit it once. Why am I having such a hard time hitting it again? There. This is a trace and... It's either trace and dump or trace and burn, can't tell. Executive area subprocessor, okay. Now, like I said, we're probably looking for the other end of the CPU. I'm gonna try sleeving it. The CPU is the most likely to have a tar pit on it. Ready, do I try this? Okay. Now resisted doesn't bring out the tar pit, but management files, I'll just... Oh. Okay. That gets added to my notebook, which is normally where my story stuff goes. Alright, so hopefully this is our target data store. So sometimes you get hints of the storyline just kind of browsing big corporations, data stores. This will never be in an unnamed system, but financial data, ugh. Okay. Alright, here's my new plan. I'm going to go to the CPU. I'm going to take it over. If you take over the CPU, you get a map of the whole system. So here's my strategy. I'm going to hit it with slow. Oops, what the heck? the failure should have brought out any tar pit, which apparently there isn't any. Alright, just need to degrade this thing enough that we can get in. I don't know why I'm still running failures though. There. That might be enough. Alright, and there's no alarm. So in the CPU you can cancel any alerts. You can crash the system. If you do that inside a corporation, it actually messes up all the meglock doors and security cameras. Okay, so the one data store I'm not familiar with is this one hidden way over here. So this must be where my target is. So we'll try this. Didn't work. Okay, that was a tar pit, so my slow got destroyed. Now, there's no other ice here, actually. But we are, tar pits automatically do active alert. So what we're going to do is accomplish our mission, which is right there. And then we're just going to grab as many files as we can before we get kicked out. Alright, and then they kicked us out. As you probably have noticed, we get more money off of this guy sometimes than the actual mission. That was about the same. But we're going to go back to Vigor and Jarl and get our payment. And then it's time to start doing our cyberdeck upgrades. Alright, and we're actually going to walk away before we get a new job. And then just save frequently. Just a good idea. And then Joshua can buy the cyber deck even though he can't use it. Oh, we got, oops, cyber decks, 171,000. So that is cheaper than the contact. I think his is 185,000. All right, so what does all this mean? The hardening protects us from enemy ice attacks, so 5 is good. The MPCP, think of that as the motherboard, and it's the upper limit of the deck's stats. So all of my stats that are 6, like evasion and masking and all that, they can get upgraded all the way to 12. It's a ridiculous price at that point, but it's also crazy busted. So if you think about this, okay, the enemy ice has to roll my stat on 6-sided dice in order for it to succeed against me. Oh, how the heck is it going to roll a 12? Well, in Shadowrun it does exploding dice, but only on a 6. So you have a 1 in 6 chance to roll 6. Then you get to roll another 6-sided dice and add it to the first roll. Well, that means you need to, that's a 1 in 36 chance to roll a 12 on a 6-sided die, I should say. Leads to some quirks in the system, like having a rating of 7 is almost worthless, and 8's not that much better. Well, 7 is worthless, actually, because if they roll a 6, they roll another die and add it to it, so 7 is the same as 6 in the system. 8 isn't even that good, because if they roll a 6, all they got to do is roll a 2 or higher in the next die, and that's it. But then once you get a little bit higher, say, let's see, what do I say, like in 10, for example, they have to roll a 6 and then roll a die again and get at least a 4 or higher. That's a pretty big drop off in probability again. So let's see here, cyberdeck upgrades, not these ones, these are already maxed out in the Fairlight. Alright, so this is what we're looking at. And keep in mind, this rating 7 upgrade basically does nothing, or almost nothing. Sensors actually does a little bit, thanks to how you look for files in the data stores. And actually, the first thing we want to do is get our programs up. First, I need to buy a new slow program because I got eaten by Tar Pit. And then I'm actually going to look at my notes because I was very careful about what programs I wanted. Yeah, so my wish list says I want to get my attack level up to 8. And that's because of the size of that program. So level 7 will be 98 MP, whatever storage that is. And then level 8 is going to be 128. I only have 500 MP of memory, so I'm willing to allocate quite a bit of it to attack and deception. But I still have to be careful not to just completely overrun it. In my notes, Sleaze stays at 5. Sleaze is a really heavy program as it is, so I don't really want to upgrade that anymore. I think that's going to be it for now. I do eventually want Analyze up. And then I do need Degrade. I forgot how much it costs, so I'll take a little phone call here. Actually, I should have started with the Degrade upgrade, now that I think about it. And I gotta remember who it was. Possibly Gregory Wellens. Yeah, I think it's Gregory Wellens. It's the Decker that's good. No, wrong guy. Where's the good Decker? No. Wilma, I think, is the weaker Decker. Okay. Am I missing him? Huh. I think I'm missing a contact. Well, Vigor Tetsuma. Alright, I'm gonna, we're gonna do a little cut here, and I'm gonna figure out who I'm missing and why. Actually, I remembered what I'm missing, so I don't need to look it up. We have to do a little bit of the storyline, because we need to go talk to Caleb Brightmore, who is the Mr. Johnson we've never seen yet, actually. He specializes in Matrix runs, so it makes sense that he has the contact of the best hacker, Decker. Alright, another Renraku strike team. Wow, these guys are tough. Let me get my firearm skill up. Okay. Yeah, so actually we're going to start just a little bit of the storyline. So when we do that, we're going to look at tips and clues. So the letter addressed to Michael reads as follows. I don't trust her Johnson, and neither should you. His story just doesn't wash, and you know it. I'm out on this one, and I hope you are too. I'll wait for you at the Terraslar City Inn and Philip Barron's. Tabitha Shell. We're going to start there. This guy will eventually get to... Alright, this is stuff that I found on the Matrix. So this is Lone Star prototype cybernetic heart set for transport. Full security procedures will be followed. We are awaiting the final paperwork. That's just a hint of something else going on in the world. Fuchi Security, we will be receiving the prototype cybernetic soon. Be sure to place it in a secure area. I suggest use the 3rd floor as it is most secure. And then Renraku, virus brings down new computer system in South America. Origin trace to system files. We will eventually get a passcode for a secret mission that gives us extra money. Let's see, I'm already in the Pale Barrens. So let's go ahead and talk to Tabitha Shale. The Terraslar City Inn caters mostly to elves. As the word Terraslar is Elvish for remembrance. I think I already did all that. Do you have a tenant named Tabitha Shale? Tabitha Shale? Yeah, she's here. She's been locked in a room for days and won't let anybody in, even to clean up. If you think you can talk some sense into her, be my guest. The manager connects you to her room via the vid phone. The screen remains blank, but the woman's wary voice identifies herself as Tabitha. Words stumble from your mouth in a desperate rush to convince Tabitha of your sincerity. After some deliberation, she concedes that you are Michael's brother and agrees to let you enter her apartment. Tabitha Shell opens the door as you arrive. She looks as if she hasn't slept in a week. She invites you in, but her eyes nervously dart around the room. Tell me about Michael's last Shadowrun. I don't know that much about it. We were hired by an unknown Mr. Johnson through Caleb to track down a location in South She. I backed out when he made the offer, so I wasn't included in the deal. Michael said one stop at Orasco's and he'd be set. You know, Caleb's not a normal Johnson. We usually use a Johnson named Mortimer Reed. He sets up in the Penumbra district in a restaurant called the Big Rhino. What can you tell me about Caleb Brightmore? He's a Johnson Michael and I used a couple of times. I don't trust him, though. Who knows what those elves are up to anyway? You might find him at Icarus Descending. That's where we always met him. Who's this guy Erisco? Boris Erisco's a small-time fixer who works out of an abandoned greenhouse in Redmond. Anything for a buck, that's Boris. He was probably the last person in the sprawl to see Michael alive. Thanks for your help. Keep a low profile so I can sort this out. As if on cue, the door to the room explodes inward, leaving you momentarily stunned. A flash of automatic gunfire rakes Tabitha through the obscuring smoke and sends you diving for cover. As a swarm of bullets abates, you leap to your feet. Surging forward through the thick cloud, you catch a glimpse of a figure in red and black disappearing down the corridor. We know now, of course, this is Renraku, but if you did this earlier in the game, you might not have known that yet. You rush back into Tabitha's room, but there are no signs of life. You notice a holopix among her scattered belongings and pick it up. David William Elfeather, Salashi Rangers Wilderness Patrol. Alright, so my character already asked Walking Bear about David Elfeather. That's not something I should have really known yet. As far as I know. I don't think my character knew that yet, but it was an option for some reason. A little bit of a glitch, I guess. So we're going to head to the Redmond Barrens. And Orozco is the greenhouse guy. The only illumination in the greenhouse comes from the dirty skylights casting strange shadows. Seated at a cluttered desk is a wisp of a man hiding under a large hat. Come on in, just light your crit stick before we start talking. Time's money, chum. I'm looking for information. Information is a commodity like anything else. I charge a flat fee of 500 nuyen for all my info, nuyen up front. So hack up my fee and I'll spill all I know. Easy money, chummer, I'll pay. Boris watches the nuyen roll off your crit stick. Ah, gives one a warm feeling all over. You just ask me anything you want to know. Tell me what you know about my brother Michael. It just occurred to me that your brother was in here a while back. He came in using the name Elfeather, though I never believed that was really his name. I believe he bought a few high-powered weapons, lots of ammo, and a four-wheel truck. Anyway, I wouldn't have thought twice about it until some Renraku hotshot started a bird dog. Never seen the suit before he came looking for your brother. He had lots of hired protection, but he looked like the most dangerous of the bunch. His name was Mako Socho. He applied some pressure, but I didn't give up your brother. I didn't give up your bro, I swear. I didn't know nothing except what he bought. Mako must have gotten more info elsewhere. Thanks. Your mind mulls over this new information as you turn to leave. You are startled back to reality as a Renraku strike team breaks into the greenhouse. They are aiming for Boris, who attempts to run for cover. The leader seems to recognize you and immediately instructs the team to take you down instead. Alright. Boris appears much more nervous now that he survived a Renraku strike team attack. He doesn't let that get in the way of business, though. This is a sincere thanks for the save, chum. You gave me the distraction I needed to help out the back. So sit down and slot up. A guy's got to make a living, you know. I'm looking for some information. Tell me what you know about my brother Michael. I already told you all I know. I suggest you find Mako Socho. He's the one who's after your bro. Do you know anything about David Elfeather? That ranger who patrols the South She? You won't get to see him unless you got a visa, of which I've plenty in stock. Rarely leaves that Amerindian village he's stationed at, but he's okay. It's his brother who's a real dreckhead. Brother? Yeah, Aragorn, a real friggin' arrogant punk. I don't care for him, but I gotta make money. Last time he was shooting his mouth off about taking on a big corp for the Johnsons around here. Haven't seen him since, and I don't feel too bad about that, though I do miss his creds. Alright, so that's a hint for another storyline quest coming up. Since we're already in here, and I think we already paid What's Your Story, Chummer? That'll cost you 100 nuyen to find out. Sure. Name's Boris Orozco, at your service. I'm a fixer, which means that if you want something, I can fix it so you can get it, with the proper monetary motivation added in, of course. I request but one thing from you. I've served time in Hollywood, so I would appreciate it if you kept our business transactions to yourself. What items do you have to offer? Give me a hint about your needs, chum. Are you looking for equipment or firepower? So equipment, he's got passports and a level 2 Meglock passkey for way too much. So yeah, he's really, I've never used him for anything other than the story. Okay. Now, I believe we can go talk to Caleb Brightmore and get that contact that we need. Save the game. And he is... actually take the taxi to Renraku, because it leaves you at the entrance, and then go left, because Icarus Descending is this bar right here. I'd like to go in. I think we've been in before, but we didn't talk to Caleb last time. In the dark booth, you see a well-dressed elf. 2 bodyguards flank him. They seem ready to spring into action at a moment's notice. I'm Caleb Brightmore. I know you're looking for me, and sad to say I also know why. I'm truly sorry about your brother's death. He was a good friend. Ours is a dangerous business. Too dangerous of late. Tell me about Michael's last Shadowrun. Michael's mission was to seek out a specific cave for an interested party. Sadly, I don't know much more than that. They were warned of the dangers of traveling through the wilderness, but ambushes aren't part of your typical forest. His team was traveling on restricted lands when they were killed. As a result, the scene of the crime was close to me. I believe the official cause was listed as death from superior firepower. As to who's behind all this, again, I know very little. I was only the agent in his final contract. I received my orders from an elf named Frosty, who in turn took orders from someone else. Alas, nothing ever is as simple as it appears. I have been unable to learn more about her despite repeated attempts. As my reputation is not to bite the hand that feeds me, I would suggest that you seek her out. I know she spends a lot of time in the Pale Baron, so you might seek her out there. That is all I can tell you regarding your brother. Is there anything else I can do for you? I'm looking for information. All you must do is ask. I'll answer as best as I can. I also have some contacts who may help, but I have to offer them something to show you are serious. They require 2,000 yen up front before I can give you any numbers. I'm looking for contacts. I have a few powerful friends who can give you a hand. The first name is Sergeant Chillicutt, my Lone Star contact. He can make things simpler for you wherever Lone Star has a pull. Next is Kip David, a high-placed corporate decker. He has extensive knowledge on corp systems, and may even have a few black market icebreakers. Are you interested in either? Hook me up with a corp decker. Caleb deducts the amount from your credit stick and borrows your pocket secretary. As soon as we're done, I'll set things up. His number is ready for your use. Okay, and then I do want the other guy. Lone Star contact. Alright, and then questions. No questions, okay. He is going to be our high-end Mr. Johnson pretty soon. And he does more Matrix runs than other runs. He pays less than Vigor, but I don't know why I try to save inside a building. He pays less than Vigor by a little bit, but his runs don't have the karma penalty, so you'll get 1 more karma per run. Okay. And then I need to figure out... First, let's talk to... Is Sergeant Chillicutt the one we just added? Yeah, I think so. The dim screen of the vidphone identifies itself. Detective Chillicutt, to whom am I speaking? You identify yourself and tell him Caleb sent you. I see. This is my private line, so you don't have to worry about security leaks. Go ahead. I don't have all day. I suppose you have some trouble with Lone Star you want me to deal with, or do you need my help entering Hollywood Correctional, or perhaps you need a weapon permit. So you can delete your criminal record, get into Hollywood, or get a permit. His is 10,000. I think we already had a better price for the one we got. Okay, we're gonna call Kip David. An eternity passes as a vidphone keeps the other end, beeps the other end. Finally, Kip connects. I'm kind of busy. Can we do this another time? He sighs. Yeah, all right. Only if it'll be quick. I'm working on a really whiz program. I don't want to lose my train of thought. So I suppose you want to know the secrets of Matrix running the corpse, or I could say a couple programs I just finished. Or are you interested in the hottest cyber deck in the market? So this guy is actually probably the one that sells the Fairlight. Tell me about the Matrix. Check. Since you're friends of Caleb's, I'll fork over the info. First thing to know about corp systems is they are juiced up to the max. The corps have all the money in the world, so every one of their systems is pretty much maxed out. And they're not fools, because they have people like me working for them. A lot of that sloppy system construction you've seen earlier does not happen here. The key to the corpse is high-powered software and a lot of skill. Without both of those, the black ice will fry you so fast it'll make your deck spin. Okay. I just need to know the prices of these. You may have heard of my latest inventions. They're called Rebound and Degrade. I've heard some lower hackers have been pirating my earlier versions, but I've improved them, and they're much better than before. In case you haven't heard of them, Rebound bounces the enemy ice's attack back at it, allowing you to do more damage in less time. Degrade attacks the node security rating, making all programs more effective. Cost is 30,000 new yen each. Well, okay. We're going to save up for that and get it. Yeah, alright, only if it'll be quick. Okay, yeah. We're just gonna, yeah, that's the Fairlight. I'm actually trying to get out of this conversation. There. For some reason it was like an infinite loop other than after you talked to him about the Matrix. Anyway, this video is looking like it's about an hour long already, so I'm going to call it quits here. I'm going to grind for New Yen off screen, get Degrade, and then that's going to be a huge boost in my speed. And then I'm going to start upgrading my Fairlight Excalibur, because that's the kind of person I am. I'm going to have a totally tricked out Saber deck. So next time we check in, I'll have probably a much better deck. And then we don't really have much left to do other than go and the storyline, so that'll probably be a video or two to get through the storyline. The gang of I-5ers jump out of the crowd. So you chose to serve the Yakuza, then you deserve to die like the other enemies of the Mafia. I need to get my firearm skill up. Alright, and then even with the heavy combat armor, we took some hits there. So I think maybe that was a good choice. Now, to be fair, I have my guys on offense, not defense. That makes a difference. If you put your guys on defense, they're not going to take damage as much. Alright, anyway. That's going to be it for today. See you guys next time. I'll probably have a much more upgraded deck at that point.